It was the witching hour, when the boogeyman comes out. The girls say the witching hour arrives at midnight. I think it comes at 3 in the morning, when I'm the only one left awake. Like now.
Hello there, welcome to What the Flick. I am Christy. This is the lovely Dave White. That's William Bibiani, also lovely, joining us today to talk about the BFG, which might not stand for what you think it stands for. Please describe to us what this is about.
Yeah, if you're a Doom fan, that's not the same thing. The BFG is based on a classic Roald Dahl novel about a young orphan girl. She's kidnapped in the middle of the night by a giant, but it turns out he's a big, friendly giant who actually gives children sweet dreams in the night because all of his other giants simply eat the children. Let's take a look.
Where am I?
Giant country. Because I hears your lonely heart. I was hearing all the secret whisperings of the world.
I grew up with Roald Dahl, and the thing with Roald Dahl is that his tone is very, very difficult to strike because it's equally innocent and terrifying. And I think Steven Spielberg has a pretty good grasp on that. This, I think, is a very reassuring film, but it's also weirdly morbid sometimes.
It's about children being eaten.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't really luxuriate over that. Like if Terry Gilliam did this movie, it'd probably be kind of gross. But
I kind of wish Terry Gilliam did do this movie.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. But I think this is actually a really interesting film, and I really like it because too many, I think, films feel kind of the same. They have the sort of save the cat structure. This is a conversational, like $100 million CGI fantasy film. And most of it is just people talking and building a friendship and doing their hobbies together. And there's something very sweet about it that I just really enjoyed.
Yeah.
The rhythms of this movie do not correspond to the sort of standard children's film.
Or standard summer blockbuster.
No, yeah, exactly. They spend, like you said, a good chunk of the first 2/3 of this film hanging out, getting to know each other, becoming best pals. And then, in the end, when the big action is happening, you are expecting this, and this to happen, and then it doesn't happen, because that's not what the movie's about. So I found that weird and refreshing. Now, my understanding is that the book is a little scarier, a little grosser, a little ruder than the film, and that could be, I guess, the Spielberg touch here, making things smoother and kinder and nicer and safer and cleaner. But that's fine with me. I haven't ever read the book. I read Roald Dahl books when I was a kid, like everybody did, and I thought this was lovely, and I thought little Ruby Barnhill is a charming child actress. I especially love Penelope Wilton as the Queen, who maybe for the first time in film history have I seen a person portraying Queen Elizabeth II who, upon realizing that, oh, there's a giant at the castle, she says, "There's a giant, and we must do something with that giant, and you seem to have a plan, young lady. Let's go do it." Like, she's a spunky go-to-it kind of Queen Elizabeth.
Well, she's not the real Queen Elizabeth. She's like a child's idea of Queen Elizabeth. Your child looks up to...
No, she's the real Queen Elizabeth.
I'm sorry, yes, I'm
With
sorry. The real
corgis and everything.
Yeah,
it makes
corgis.
her official.
The corgis were awesome.
So I did not like this nearly as well as you guys did. The charming kind of get to know you section I found to be a meandering slog. And I just wanted it to go someplace. And I'm like, you've got this amazing technology, you've got this incredible motion capture performance from Mark Rylance.
Yes.
The effects are seamless. It is beautiful and strange, but also kind of magical. And I'm just like, get to it already. Something happened, and then they get there. And the thing I liked about the whole section in London with the Queen is not even necessarily that it is action, but it's like what they do spatially, what they do with him in terms of how enormous he is and the space they got to fit him into and the clever ways that they make that happen. Like I liked all of that stuff.
Right.
And it does, I'm not a big fan of fart jokes, as you guys might know if you've watched the show for a long time, but it does a lovely, lovely job of carefully setting up this long prelude to a big payoff fart joke.
A grand fart joke.
It actually pretty much works. And I brought my son with me, and the farting corgis, that's the only part of the movie that he really, really liked.
Is this Spielberg's first fart joke? I'm trying to remember. He's done childish humor before, but I'm trying to remember about fart jokes.
Does E.T. fart?
I don't remember if E.T. farts. Slim Pickens like pretended to have like huge poops in 1941.
That's right.
But that wasn't real though, so I don't know if that counts.
I just found this to be a drag. I don't know. It's long.
When was the last time you saw 1941?
A while ago.
Let's go back and look it up for poop and fart jokes. I don't know.
I love that you remembered that.
Maybe if I read the book, I would. I know you read the book and you clearly loved it. It's clearly an important part of your childhood.
It's
so
not
maybe
my
I don't have
favorite.
that emotional connection to
Roald
it.
Dahl is part of my childhood,
Okay.
right? As an entity. It's not my favorite. I preferred Matilda or The Witches. But the BFG, honestly, I always thought of BFG, honestly, as kind of a bit more of a Casper kind of thing, where he's sweet, he's kind, he's almost not cool, which was kind of nice, actually. I like that there's a lot of stories that we tell for children in books, in movies, television, that are just packed with incident. We have to constantly distract the child, distract the child, distract the child. I'm trying to do my taxes, the child needs distraction. Bam. I feel like no one's slowing down enough to tell a story for children that actually has real emotional resonance. That's an exaggeration. There are films that do it, but here's a film that is all about slowing down. Here's a film about a child connecting with an old person. He's as old as time itself. He's doddering, he's sweet, he's kind, but it's about children slowing down and connecting with someone emotionally. It is about an old person sort of sharing their wisdom and knowledge. It is about, what does he do? He crafts dreams. This is a story about a storyteller. The BFG is Steven Spielberg as an older gentleman trying to connect with children, trying to give them something sweet and reassuring, literally, within the film. And I think it succeeds. Now, is it E.T.? No, it's not that level of instant brilliance. But I really admire it. I think it doesn't play like any other children's fantasy film I've seen in a really long time, especially in America. And I love it. I think it's really, really great. I think I would have loved it when I was a kid. And if I had kids right now, I would shove them in front of that while I did my taxes.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was thinking about it. I'm wondering, who is this really for? Is it for adults to enjoy the nostalgia of childhood, or is it for kids now? And I don't know. Speaking from the one child who was sitting next to me, he didn't love it. I mean, he was not necessarily caught up in the whimsy of it.
Right.
He's seen a lot of movies in his life, so I don't know who. I think it's really more for grown-ups than it is for kids.
Do you know what he was expecting? Was he expecting something a bit more manic?
I have no idea.
Does that matter, do you think? I'm
Anyway,
curious.
he's really. Now that you ask, he's very, very aware of movie marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He sees posters and billboards for everything, and I think he just thought it would be another Monday night with mom at work. So I'm not sure he knew what it was going to be.
I had to do filing when I hang out with my parents at work, so that's an
But right now he's reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so he's very aware of that tone. And when I told him, it's from the same guy who did this book that you're reading, I don't know, he didn't dig it. But farting dogs, any age, that is good for. I don't know.
Good comedy.
I did not connect with it emotionally the way you guys did, but I totally admire it visually, and it's seamless. And Mark Rylance's face and whatever they've done to it. He's a national treasure of many nations. Multiple nations.
It might be that this is a film for somewhat older children.
You think so?
Maybe. I mean, I just remember back when I was an unusual movie-loving child, and when a movie was strange, like this one is, I remember feeling like that it was more for me
It spoke to you.
Yeah, and so this might not be a movie for every child.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a movie for strange children. So
My kid is strange, I promise. Okay, so what are your numbers then? We are all over the place. Bibbs, what's yours?
I gave it a 9. I think it's wonderful, and I would highly recommend anybody see it.
Dave?
7.5.
I'm going to say 4.8. I'm no fun. My number is a low friendly number, low unfriendly number. So our average is that right? A 7.1? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
7.1. It's 72% on the tomato meter. I'm really curious to see how this does. It's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen.
We don't know anything here. Bye.